no, like you're kind of forced into that because sex is on the table.
And then so you in your mind, you put this image of your husband, you put this image of your wife, of what they look like. And so when they don't look like that, oh, that's not the person I'm supposed to be with.
Mm-hmm.
But God.
And then finally, there's when you're dating and you're trying to meet different guys, you know, they may ghost you because you practice abstinence and you're not willing to wait. You know,
and you know, she was definitely right. Like I was emotionally like leading her to a place to nowhere, basically.
It does.
Yeah, it's gonna be more painful for you because it's like you trying to hold a grudge and you're even more mad because the grudge ain't working.
Yeah, you're trying to hold a grudge, and then it just, our energy is affected. Are you a single Christian woman that knows that God planted the desire for marriage for you? So hi, I'm Lucretia Haley, certified life coach that focuses on purpose and relationships. And I help teach Christian single women how to date with confidence and cultivate relationships that lead to love and commitment. And I want you to be invited to a free training I have for you. Also, I remember searching for videos and for books and for things that centered around relationships just so I could understand what it truly meant for me to date out here and how I can date as a Christian woman. And I didn't find too many things out there to help me. I also experienced heartbreak and heartache. And as much as that was a trying time for me, I remember just trying to figure out what it was to date again. And so scrolling on dating apps and trying to find the right man that God wanted for my life. In this training, we will uncover what an amazing life looks like as you prepare to invite your future husband in it. We'll also uncover those insecurities that keep you stagnant from meeting and attracting your future husband. And lastly, we'll talk about growing in love and accountability and what that looks like as you pursue your next relationship. So listen, I cannot wait to see you over there. Go ahead and click the link and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye. Woo! Hey y'all, we back. Hey y'all, we back for another episode. We back.
Yep.
Season 6, we back. Hey.
6 seasons in.
Yeah, babe, how you feeling?
Actually, not bad.
You not bad?
Not
bad. It's yeah, you got to do the thing. All
See,
right.
Smooth transition.
Smooth transition.
Now, I know y'all listening and like, wait a minute, the intro sounds different from this. We're working it out, okay?
Do you think they'll figure it out?
Probably not.
Okay. Anyway.
But now since I brought it to attention.
Now they're going to go, now they're going to rewind it when they're going to be driving and rewinding and let me see what they're talking about.
Yeah, they could have been jamming to the intro and then they should know it's like, wait a minute, why you change songs?
It's all right. It did sound the same though, a little bit. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of When Marriage
and Purpose
Collide, the podcast. Woo, we got it.
We usually don't do the podcast part.
And y'all, we're here. I'm so excited to have our guest on today. We've been having guests from when you all are watching or listening to this. This is our 4th episode in the friendship series. So if you are listening or watching this, make sure, or for the first time and y'all have not watched the other 3, go back and watch the other 3 after this, of course. But make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe on all everything.
You start from season 1, you see the progress all the way to this.
I mean,
the progress.
You could do that too. I was actually starting talking about this season, but if you want to go back to season 1, you could go back. You can't see the progress though.
Hair was short, room was different.
Yeah, my locks were.
This was the same room though.
Yeah, he didn't have locks. You had just hair. I mean, no.
Yep.
Just
I wasn't bald.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, announcements. So we are gearing up for October 26th, which is the dating and marriage panel. You're going to be able to, I don't know if they'll see this. I don't know when this will air. So either you could watch the recording of the panel, or you can actually watch the live panel on October 26th, whenever that is, because we'll post it and y'all be like, what's the panel? We'll put it in the description whether or not you see it live or watch the recording. But that's coming up.
Either way, it's happening.
You're gonna put the thing in where the thing's supposed to go. Right there, or you could put it over the thing.
No, it's too late. My hand was up.
No, but yeah. Okay.
Oh, you talking about? Wait, hold on. There you go.
Thank you. Or you can just cover all of us.
I could do that.
Yeah.
The whole Zoom out.
Yes. So.
Well, I have to explain it.
Anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. First, I forgot to tell y'all this at the beginning, but that's okay. We like to start off with something called what?
Confessions. Sorry. I keep calling it confessionals every time.
Because there was a show that had confessionals.
Oh, true.
So that's probably why. But we like to do something called confessions, and y'all feel free to join in on it. It's very lighthearted. It's not anything like you don't have to confess like your
it's not an actual
childhood vulnerable deep darkest moment. It's not like that. It's anything that you may have gone through this week that was like maybe something you saw as petty, or something that somebody did that just kind of ticked you off, or maybe you did something great for somebody, something you saw on TV, something you saw while driving. I don't know, whatever it may be.
All right, don't mind.
Okay, well, you go first.
You said it like that. Anyway. So you know my stories will work. I keep bringing up homeless people, keep showing up in wild things. But this time, I forgot to say this a while back. There was a lady. I was in the back alley area of my job, cleaning up and stuff, and then I seen this lady holding her butt.
What? Oh.
Yeah, I was like, why she? It was like she must have had a really go. I thought she was constipated or something. She was just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was like, okay, that was a little weird. Until my job calls me. It's like, hey, can you come here real quick? Somebody took a dump in the front area. Yeah. So I put two to two together. Yeah. It was the lady speed walking down the alley. Yep. Good times.
Good times.
And we had some new supervisor who's like ex-FBI, and he came in there with the full list of gear for me to put on. I'm like, calm down, sir.
Good times. Temporary layoffs.
Right. You would think the job would be normal. My job is not normal for some reason.
It's not.
At all.
You have stories for days.
Every time.
And you would think because it was it's the post office.
Yes. Today was normal.
Okay. That's cool.
I think. Yeah. I might remember something, but today was normal.
Okay. I'm gonna share my confession, and then I forgot to have y'all introduce yourselves. So after this, introduce and then do y'all confessions. Mine, I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but I've been having issues with our trash / recycling company.
On fight. I was trying to.
It's been a doozy. It's been a doozy, and finally though, we've come to a common ground, I should say. So what happened is we may miss, like, first of all, I love to recycle. Recycling has been a thing. I got to, okay. I grew up in California where recycling was a thing, and here people don't care. They just throw everything and everything. That's fine, do it. But me, I like to go green. And so I recycle. And so sometimes, this company does not pick up recycling weekly. So it's only every first and third, second and fourth, and they keep switching it. So sometimes I just like, listen, I don't know which Wednesday it is, but I'm just going to go ahead and put everything out there, put the trash and the recycling out there, because I don't know which week. I done forgot. I don't know. So either way, it's going to pick up this week or next week. So one day I'm sitting and I hear the trash people come in. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know why. It's a good break to see them put the trash in. And the dude picks up the trash and puts it in the truck. He picks up the recycling and also puts it in the truck. I'm pretty sure if you read, you can see the big recycle in white letters on top of the bin. But he does that and he just goes back in the car, the truck, and zooms away.
So I'm like, oh no, you tripping. We pay for recycling. All the dude or call or actually I text this good. You could text the trash company. So I text them, say, hey, this is the dude did. He's like, well, we have no evidence that he did it. He said, next time, make sure you take a picture for evidence and show us because we can't reprimand him. If we do, he'll have to be suspended for a week. Da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, okay. Dude, fast forward, does it again. He comes again because I put both out there and I said, okay. I was like, oh, let me do it. Take picture inside the blinds, all the stuff, sent it. He's like, what am I supposed to do with this? I said, you told me to send you evidence of the person, da da da. And he said, no, we can't do that. It's your fault. You put both of them out there. I said, so can your person not read? Like, I don't understand, like, why are we having issues here? Like, why are we going back and forth? It's just simple. Like, it's small, but it's big. He said, oh, I don't understand. Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He said, no, we can't credit. We can't do it. You need to fix how you put the trash out there, how to put the recycling out there, all the things. I'm ticked. I'm bad. Going back and forth through text messages, all the things. And then I said, okay, God, help me do this. I know it's small, but please, what am I supposed to do here? And so found out I was talking to somebody else. I said, can I speak to somebody above you? Got to the person, the dude that owns the company or whatever. And I said, he goes back and forth. He tells me he can't do nothing. And then I'm like, okay. He's like, so what do you, it's not, he said this, he said, it's not that big of a deal. It's something so small. I don't understand why customers get so wrapped up in this when it's something so small. And I said, sir, I know you own this company. I know you're trying to do a great job. I know that, you're one man show. You're trying to make things work. However, you got to consider the customers. Something small is big to us and it matters. And he said, oh, I never thought about it that way. I thank you for sharing that perspective. I'm sorry. Da 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 da. And so I'm still side-eyeing him. But he was like, and I do reviews on Facebook. Listen, you do something, I'm reviewing. Wherever your company is and there's a review there. So he saw it and he was like, oh, so you go write a review about me, huh? He texted me. But anyway, that was before we had the conversation. So I don't know how it's gonna go from here. I did write this time. I purposely put the right can out just to see da da da. So that's my confession in a long story short.
This was like almost like a week long and a half situation happening. I mean,
and he was about, let me get this number. Let me call him.
Because we almost lost a trash company. Talking about they're gonna pick it up on Saturday.
Oh,
like, that's
yeah. He said, no, okay, because of this, we can't come to an agreement. I'll just go ahead and this will be your last day for service. We'll go ahead and drop you, basically, is what he said.
I ain't never.
I'm like, oh, and I said, why? Me texting back and forth. I said, why? Question mark.
Hurt this man's feeling. He was like, give my trash cans back.
And so the coach in me came out, and I was like, I had to tell him about his management skills and basically, just do right by people. So that was that. So thank you all for listening, and you out there driving in your car and watching us on. Thank you for listening to my confession.
You went from old lady pooping to trash cans and recycling fights.
I mean, it was kind of it matches trash cans with old lady. Anyway, what? So now we want to introduce our guests, which we were supposed to do before this, but we run things how we run things. So if you all can introduce yourselves, let us know who you are, briefly what you do, and then share a confession. Anything.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Hi, guys. My name is Brandon. I am a Christian life coach. That's my passion. And I have a confession. I'm not ashamed about it anymore, so I'm going to share it. So this is my dog Milan right here behind us. Say hello, Milan. She's our special guest.
Hello.
Every time I come on here, I bring somebody new. So I brought two more people. So when we were at our original house that me and my wife Emily were living in, one day I was walking Milan, and I'm usually a good dog person. I allow her to do her business at like a green area, and I pick it up with a bag, things like that. So one day, for some reason, she didn't want to go on any grass. We were crossing a road, and right in the middle of the road, she decided to squat.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
That process started to happen in the middle of the road. I'm like,
Oh,
you are not going to do this in the middle of the road. So I had her, so we started to sprint, and I'm like, let's go. And
right.
as we are running, waste started coming out. And there were just like a couple, this is very explicit. I'm sorry. There were just a couple chunks that were on the road, and I'm like, yeah, I always pick up from behind her, but I'm like,
Mhm.
this is not my fault. This is her fault.
Mhm.
I'm not going to pick this up. Like, it was just on the road, so I'm like, you know what? Like, if anything, a car will just drive.
Yeah, the car will catch it.
It'll just splatter, So I come right. So yes, forgive me, God. So I come home, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be a good husband. I'm gonna be accountable. I'm gonna be accountable to my wife, and I'm gonna tell her what happened.
So, babe, recently I've been on social media, and as I'm scrolling, I'm seeing a lot of people who are struggling in their relationships. And the main thing is communicating. Like, they don't know how to communicate. What do you say about that? What you thinking?
I know a lot of it is mostly geared towards the men and with the lack of communication
Mm-hmm.
and how like, oh, they can't hold one or something like that, or they're not capable.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's just a learning thing. Like, when you get together, there needs to be tools and resources that you can have to help navigate that journey
Yeah,
with communicating.
some kind of structure.
Yeah, some kind of structure, something that you can go to often, and then make your own.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we come into play.
Oh yeah, we got something for you.
Yeah, we got something called the Communication Game Changer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a guide that can help you in the season wherever you are, whether you are dating exclusively, you're engaged, or married.
Even single.
I mean, yeah, even if you're single, you can learn, and it's basically a structured question that you can start asking your spouse or significant other.
Yeah.
And I think it can help those who are out there. And it's really a starting point. It's not the ending point. So if you need therapy, go to therapy. But this is a great start.
Definitely a great start, especially y'all having arguments and nobody's listening to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got some.
And we definitely use this. We use this structure, have been using it for a long time now in our marriage, and it's helped us greatly. So
we just want to share it with you.
We just want to share it with you. So go ahead and click the link in the description to get your copy of the Communication Game Changer. All right.
So I'm like, hey, babe, Milan started pooping on the road, and she was like, okay, did you pick it up? I'm like, no. Like, you should have picked it up, babe. On the road. Like, what if we get hit by a car? Like,
right.
So I'm just like, it's not a big deal. And then what she said, she was like, okay, babe, I'm going to go pick it up. And when she said that she was going to pick it up, I'm like, no, I'm going to sacrifice myself for my wife. And I'm like, no, I'll go pick it up. And I literally had to drive to that same spot.
Oh my! And it was still there.
It was still there. Like,
how long was this happened before you got home and saw it?
It was probably like 45 minutes.
Okay.
After. So it got a little hardened. So it wasn't as bad. But the fact that I'm just like, the moral of the story is just clean up your mess. Just clean up your mess. But I would have felt bad if I let her just go out and go get it. I'm just like,
oh my gosh.
Part of me is loving her, part of me is pride. So that's
my second.
I have pride.
You turned that around to a whole little TikTok session inspiration
Oh my
message
God.
at the end.
Wow.
Look at you.
Wow.
Okay, so this did fall along the same category. We got
It
trash.
was my fault.
Dave, I don't know what you got, man.
I don't know either. After all these stories, I was like, oh man, what do I have? I'm Dave LeBlanc. I work at a small nonprofit in youth development. So I help support Spanish-speaking newcomer middle school students get connected to services and supports in the community. And my confession is I was on a date on Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
And we had lunch, and then we went to go get ice cream, and it was just counter service, so you couldn't like go in and like sit anywhere, and it was kind of raining, so I'm like, hey, so let's sit in my car, and I like turn on the, like my car just to like have the like breeze blowing on us, and we sat there talking for like 10-15 minutes, and then I go to like drive her home, and my car was completely dead.
Oh.
And I was just like, no, please, no, this is a
No.
first date. My car battery is
When you say
completely
you did
dead.
that, I was like,
You knew exactly where it was going.
No. Because it's like, I don't want to be wasteful of my gas. We're just sitting here, but we still need to have like a little breeze. It's still kind of like muggy.
Yeah.
And so it died, and I was so embarrassed. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I have to call someone to get a jump. She's like, it's okay. And she was honestly super chill and like super kind about it. And my insurance plan, you have like roadside assistance. So I just called, like, yeah, we'll be there in an hour. And I'm like, I'm on my first date with this girl, and we're just sitting here having ice cream. Like, can you come and jump my car battery, please? Like, no, we'll get someone there. And so we just like walked for a little bit. She was very chill, very understanding, very kind. They came, they jumped it, then they gave her a ride home. But I just thought it was just like, oh my gosh, it's just like it's an epic fail on a date.
Well, I mean, she was
I don't know.
understanding.
It could have been a plus. It's like, wait a minute, hold on, you need to talk to her a little bit longer.
I know exactly. That was
go ahead and turn this car off.
There was guys saying, hold on, you need to go ahead and give her the conversation I told you to tell her, the thing I didn't tell her to tell. But no, that was interesting. So I mean, I would have that. I don't know if it was an epic fail, but but I could see how you could take it. For
I
sure.
love the detail. I'm on a first date with, but my battery went down. Can you help me?
I thought like maybe I'd get some like sympathy or empathy.
That's what I'm.
Oh, okay, sir. We'll get there. We'll get instead of an hour. We'll get there in 5 minutes. Just
Right, exactly.
during your date, you're more important than anyone else.
They're probably like,
right now.
okay, this is gonna be there in an hour.
Right. Right. They're like, okay. You're like, sir.
First date.
Right. You're like, sir, yeah, we're still coming in an hour. We're still coming in an hour. Just hold tight.
Well, good luck on your date. All right.
Cool. Well, thank y'all so much. That's our segment. This is our confession.
Confessions.
And now we're moving on to a part of where we ask the two questions. Oh, you have your question right there. The two questions for our guest. So go ahead. Take us away.
Marriage and purpose colliding. What does it mean to you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, marriage and purpose colliding. Marriage is part of purpose. I think like the purpose of getting married is really to glorify God. The purpose of marriage is basically be an example of what Jesus is to the church. It's a beautiful picture, and to me who've been married for over a year, like it's a great example to I would say like a great witness to other people of like, this is who Jesus is, and this is how we can display the character of God through our marriage. So like, yeah, like I'd say the purpose of marriage is to glorify God, to image Christ in his church, and be a witness to everyone else.
That's good. That's good to be a witness. I don't think we see it like that. All of that to be an example. People are watching.
Yeah.
You know, it's ministry still, you know, within and what people see. So that's good. All right, Dave, what you got?
I was gonna say, like, I just second everything that he said. Like, he said it perfectly. And I would say that there is purpose in life, whether married. I'm single right now, and I was thinking about today of how a small piece of our purpose is to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love our neighbor as ourselves. And that there's purpose in our lives, whether we're married or single, and that there's beautiful purpose, whether married or single, to seek after the face of God, to love ourselves, to love others, and that God's purpose, whether single or married, does not change. Like, his will can still be done. And within marriage, like you said, like the Christ head of the church as the bridegroom and the church as the bride, there's like another piece of that beautiful story of purpose within life, whether that is marriage between Christ and the church or marriage between two humans.
Wow. Okay. Preach it. Dave, you're a minister. Dave, you up there preaching. You're a youth pastor, ain't you? No,
But thank you.
no, that was good. That was good. No, definitely. I like how you put it. That, yeah, it's perfect. I don't even have anything to add to that. All right. Third question.
You mean second question?
No.
I know the third question, but second question for them.
Oh, yes.
What are your thoughts surrounding the current state of singles and dating nowadays?
Take that one.
Yeah. Sure, I'm in the thick of it. As a single Christian man looking for a woman who loves Jesus, it's hard. I've been on and off the dating apps for several years. I think since probably like 2019, 2020, and I would say a couple words that come to mind. There's always there's hope, and then there's also a lot of disappointment. It can be very frustrating, I feel, for some people. And this is just me as a white, straight male, English speaking, on these dating apps. And my experience is very different than a lot of women, particularly a lot of color, from what I've read and from what I've heard. And even within people who are looking for Jesus loving people, it can still just be very hard, of whether on the apps or in person, because there's this hope, but then there's also a lot of disappointment, a lot of hope deferred. And for me personally, it can be very disheartening and very discouraging.
That's the part right there, discouraging. And so listen, you put yourself out there, Dave. I don't know who's going to be listening to this, but it's going to air sometime October, November. You hoping that somebody come knock on your door.
I want him.
He just already said he loves Jesus. He's a Christian. Like, he just said all his things that women are like, check.
He's tall too. He's tall too.
He's tall. Okay.
5'11".
Okay. That's not bad.
Hey, it still counts.
I make sure I put 5'11" on my profile, because people tell me, like, oh, you're 6 years. And I'm like, when I go to the doctors, they say you're 5'11" and 1/4. So I'm like,
oh, 1/4. You 6 foot.
That quarter
that
tipped
quarter,
it over.
Yep.
No, listen, that's all you already just said all your credentials and everything. They go, somebody's shooting a shot. So ladies, shoot your shot.
Yeah, I think they got the TikTok shoes, give you an extra 3 feet. So
oh, good. Oh, the TikTok shoes, the extended.
You'd be 6'2" if you wanted to.
I saw those.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh. Or the knee or the knee surgery. Which one are you talking about?
No, not the knee
surgery.
surgery.
Okay. I saw the one with
we ain't going that far.
Okay. Brandon, what you got for what's going on?
Oh, I was like, oh, I heard somebody saying they're going to get knee surgery for height too. I'm like, I think it was like a pop the balloon episode. I don't know. I'm like,
oh yeah, it might have been.
Okay, all right, yes, yeah, wow. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I ditto Dave here. Like, I feel like there's just a contempt for the opposite gender. Like, there's this very deep-seated hatred for the opposite sex. That's what I'm feeling like. And and it's being expressed in dating right now, on both sides, from men to women and from women to men, and that's probably because of past experiences in dating. It could be, mommy or daddy issues. They might be reflecting what they've seen and grown up in their households, and how they've seen their moms and dads love each other, or maybe they didn't see it at all, and it's probably just being manifested through their dating life today. So I think it's I see it all the time. Like there's something that there's not a lot of praise from the opposite gender to the other gender, and that's lacking. And I feel like it's a really a heart issue that everybody is going through.
It's not a lot of praise. It's a lot, so much negative. Not even like because I'm attracted to you, or it just the love. Just where's the love? Where is it? Like, I just want to lift you up. It's all this you ain't, and what you have to be, and what you're not doing. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's great.
Yeah.
You had some. Yeah, you had something about compliments, right? You said something about how we don't compliment. Something like that on your TikTok. I can't remember something.
Yeah. I think it was like, like we don't like encourage each other.
Yeah.
It's like it's always this, and you can ask Dave. I think your experiences are much better on it is on TikTok. It's usually like, all right, what do you got, sir? Like, what are you bringing to the table? Are you gonna give me my kids? Can you birth my kids? It's never like, oh, like there's something that I see that I in this person that I can share with them, even if it doesn't work out. Like if it doesn't, it's always like one extreme to the next. If it works out, then this person is perfect. If it doesn't, it's like this person is trash, and there's literally no redeeming qualities about this person. It's very toxic.
It is, and that's why we're here, and that's why we coach, because we want to encourage those out there, and we want to provide opportunities for singles to see that there are other singles that aren't like that, single Christians rather too, that aren't like that, so that you can see hope, even if you're not compatible. You see hope, like, okay, you know what? I know I have a single sis. I know I have a single bro, whatever. I know that they're out there, so we want to build singles up so that there is hope in the midst of the chaos. So,
right.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with like the overexposure of just internet information. Just there's so much stuff you can instantly just get, to where when you try to go on a date with someone, they want it right then and there. And a lot of times we can't, reach those expectations of instant. So when people are looking for a relationship, a lot of times that's why you see it happen so fast, or not at all, because everybody's not on the same page. Like there's a lot of men who want women to just, do what they want, but it ain't gonna work out like that. And then a lot of women want wherever the man can provide real quick. A lot of times that don't work like that, especially when they're talking about we want this high class man, and then you hear the men talking about, oh, I'm a high value. Like, just stop.
Gosh, it's just so much.
And like I said, it's an overexposure of just negativity going on, to where it's influenced a lot of people, especially with dating.
Right.
So yeah, like we could talk for a long time about this.
Yep.
This is why Brandon's gonna keep coming back. And maybe Dave too. Maybe Dave, we might have Dave on back to with some good news when he comes back.
Right. Sermon ready, prepared.
So we're going to move on to the next part, which is the why everybody's watching today. So, like I said before, this is the last episode in our, well, hopefully we'll see how we arrange it, but more than likely the last episode in our friendship series. And we've had a plethora of different conversations, great, meaty conversations that have blessed me. They even have them speak life to you.
They brought me in. It was like, let's
The women, yeah, the women,
target him.
women
Right.
talking to DJ
Yeah.
about his friendships.
I like
It was
my
really
friendships.
good.
I had my friendship since elementary school.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into it. So yeah, we're gonna really talk and learn more about how you all stay friends, accountability, all those things. But first, let's go into like, how did y'all meet? Like, where did the foundation of your friendship begin?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I met you first. I saw you first, so I noticed you. So we met in 2018 at the same church that we're going to now, our home church, Antioch. I remember, like, actually, he came to the church around July that year, and I came literally well over a month later.
Yeah.
And I remember we were in a life group together, a young adult life group. We were young back then. We were in our mid-20s. We're just 31 now. So
33.
Aw.
he's 33. Yeah, I'm 31. We're old men now. So back in the day when we were in our mid-20s, we were in like a life group with like 15 people, and I was brand new, so I wanted to be friends with everybody. And I remember I was talking to our friend Ben throughout the night, but I remember I saw Dave like across from me, and I was just thinking, I need to get to know this kid. Like, he needs to be my friend.
Oh,
I don't think I told you.
that's so nice.
This is my second confession, and yeah, that's all I could remember about how we met. But I'm gonna add.
I really appreciate that. Well, I do remember being new. Life group is at a good friend Richard's house, and I noticed that Brandon was new, and I was still fairly new, and like I wanted to make sure he felt like comfortable and like included and welcomed. But I did it in such a roundabout way where we were passing around like a sheet of paper, like for people to write down the contact information, and everyone had already put theirs down. And so I was like, does anyone else want to put down the contact information? And someone else was like, dude, Brandon was the only one who didn't put it down. Just ask him if he wants to put down his information. I'm like, I was trying to be this okay. And then Brandon brought chicken wings to a potluck not long after that, and they were super good. And I can't remember if I got his number then, but I think to this day I still have Brandon's phone number saved, like Antioch Waltham chicken wings.
I'm done.
We just had chicken wings at his house with his wife Emily and me over there, and they were delicious. And he still makes really good chicken and rice.
Oh, so we need to go to Boston, is what you're saying? We did.
Yeah.
Just a caveat: the chicken wings, the first ones that you tried, those are my mom's.
This is true.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's
okay.
That's what
so that sold you.
Yep.
That's good.
He said these wings are delicious.
I'm like,
he's like, not the same.
That's funny. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No, what I wanted to ask too is because I don't think men meet each other different. I feel like how men or women, men meet. Yeah, how women meet each other or how they become friends. Like that seemed very easy. I don't think that happens with us often. I think with women, we are eyeing and observing a lot because of we're kind of trying to figure out if you fit, and if you're right. Like we probably have other friends too. So it's like, okay, do I have the capacity to add somebody else? Like all this. So talk about meeting. How's that been over your time? Do you feel like has it ever been easy like that to meet? I don't know, men talk, friends.
Okay.
I don't know.
I could start with
that. Okay, go ahead.
Two of my friends, the first one, Tim, I met him because I bullied him. I don't know why I started doing it when he was way taller than everybody. So one time I just pushed him up on the lockers and said, "Give me your lunch money," and we just joked about it. And he's been my friend since.
See, that's like.
And then my other friend, who ended up being, I was his best man at his wedding. He fell on a stapler and hurt his knee.
I don't think I heard the story.
And I felt bad for him, so I was like, "Hey, let me help you out." And we've been friends since. Like, it's so random. Like, usually all my friendships either start with a "Hey, you got this? I got that too." Friendship.
Hmm.
I know women it takes a whole month or two.
We take almost years before we even say we friends.
And they should know one day y'all besties.
Right.
We besties day one.
We gotta
help me.
We gotta go through fire first. And then
that was fire. He hurt his knee.
So y'all, what's it been like as far as over time? Has it been that easy with meeting your friends, or?
You wanna go?
I feel like it's definitely gone through ebbs and flows for me over the years, because as I've gotten older, I realized that I need to be more intentional about making friends. In school, like I used to love playing soccer and basketball. So you're just always with those guys. Or church and youth group, you are constantly seeing these people week after week, sometimes twice a week. Then college, maybe you have people in your class, your friend groups, and maybe you have like a Christian life group.
Mm-hmm.
Then outside of that, it's like, oh my gosh, like, how do I make friends now? Whether it's through work, like common interests, maybe it is a church, maybe it is a life group. So I've been really fortunate to meet really awesome guys through our church's just people and community and life group. So we're seeing each other week after week. We're starting to get to know each other. There's other people around, so I feel like it's less awkward. And then more of our personalities can come out when we're playing games, when we're praying, where, hey, we're going to go out to eat, love food, and just like connecting in that way. It's not always easy. And I've had to realize sometimes I just was at a birthday party for a friend that I met through Zumba. Like I go to Zumba a couple times a week.
Come on, look, he adding on stuff. Women, he go to Zumba, y'all.
That should have been 15 points.
You skyrocketed now, Dave. It's over.
Oh,
it's over for you. Zumba?
Make sure you add Zumba on your profile.
Oh, that's true. I do actually. I have it on there.
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, cool.
My Hinge profile.
Okay, sorry we cut you off. I was just excited. Okay, Zumba.
And that just came about like just conversation, and then they like he and his girlfriend just like, hey, my birthday is this Saturday. You want to come to my birthday party?
Wow.
And I'm like, sure. And then I met his friends, and we had Latin American food, and then we went back to their place and had cake and sang karaoke. And I love karaoke. All that to say, I've connected with guys through mutual pursuits, but then I think there's also this recognition of like, hey, I think we're lonely. Do you want to be friends? Or like, do you want to hang out? Like, yeah, I kind of feel lonely too. Like, I need more friends. Like,
that's good.
I once had a person, like, we were talking about Celtics, and he was just like, this is really fun. I don't have a lot of friends. You want to exchange numbers and like we can hang out sometime? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I don't have a lot of friends. It's different for everyone and in different seasons of life. But those are a few experiences.
Yeah, I think you just saying that, it's like, I feel like women, you might have I don't know if you verbalized being lonely or if there was something you felt versus saying, sir, I'm lonely. But women, we say that to each other. Like, you know, like, I haven't had a friend in a while. It's been crazy. Like, example is me saying this. Like, I haven't had a friend in a while, you know, and things have got rocky. Yeah, it would be great to have somebody like to talk to, like we talk about it even as we're building the relationships. I feel like, and then for y'all, like, to know that y'all feel that makes me be like, oh wow, like y'all actually be lonely out here in these streets. Y'all need as much as we need it. Y'all need too. You need too.
Yeah. Oh well, the lonely part is usually like, I think because I have friends that are in the same interests of what I do. It's not as lonely. Like if I had a friend who's like only like sports, but I like video games, and yeah, it could get lonely because it's like we don't have the same interest, but we met through a mutual way. So it's like, oh, we met because he was friends with such and such, but we were still cool, but we don't have the same interests. So I don't know what that was. But yeah, there could be a lot of loneliness as far as that, because a lot of times, a lot of us want, somebody to share the same interests as us, so we can have fun or something like that. So I could definitely see that.
Yeah. And something I like also is that church was the foundation.
Yeah.
Finding the brotherhood, finding that person, you found them where you go, and now like you frequent most often, kind of thing. And I think a lot of times with women, we're automatically like with relationships and with single with groups that are started at the church or whatever, we flock to those things like all the time. And so, and a lot of times we'll get into relationships or we dating a guy or whatever, and we find out that they're not as active sometimes. Like there's like you go to church, but you don't go to church, like you don't have friends. We looking for men that's staying accountable, that has godly friendships, all those things. So I think it's healthy to hear, or it's good to hear that, listen, like it's okay to go, men, it's okay to go. Church could be the outlet where you do find those type of people for your circle.
Actually, I want to add on to that. I think it's harder. Well, not for all men. I know for me, it's harder to sometimes have a friendship outside of what's mutual. So, say like, you got your work friends. That's my boy at work.
Yeah, that's just my work friend. So Monday, yeah, that time.
Because I had that a few times where it's like at work, oh man, that's my boy. We talk, do this, do that, but then outside of work, nothing. So I think on my experience, it's a little harder to have a friend that's outside of something that's not, basically a permanent area. So,
well, I
know for me it's different. I go home, I'll be fine.
He go home, he just be in his own little world. And it's sometimes, I'm sure other women or wives do this where they're like, hey, there's a men's thing.
I know.
Or
men's thing is okay.
Or I invite like we I met a new friend, just starting stages or whatever. And she's like, yeah, like you should bring your husband too. We can make it like a play date.
Husband play date. Come on, she got a husband too. Like, okay.
I don't know if her husband plays games, but either way, y'all can talk.
Then we meet up and just like, hey man, how you doing? I'm good.
That's my guy.
Look at what you got.
Yeah, exactly. What'd you say, Dave?
Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I feel like it's something like we want to include y'all with us. And so but church is like a great place to where they have those opportunities where it won't feel so awkward. You could hang out.
I'm gonna be awkward anyway. So
oh yeah, he's gonna be awkward anyway. But I think all the awkward men raise your hand. No, but anyway. Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
hey,
2 hands.
Yeah,
we buddies.
we connect with dysfunction. That's
right. Friends.
Hey, that usually works. You got to get healed somewhere.
Yep. So anyway, no. So I want to kind of talk about. Okay, so you met, Dave. You met Brandon when he wasn't married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about seeing the shift and how that affected your relationship, or did it, or what that looked like, boundaries, all that stuff.
I love this question. Thank you so much. That's really cool to think about. We had conversations about like dating, or like, oh, you're seeing someone, oh, I'm seeing someone, like, hey, how did it go? Just kind of the ups and downs of this life, and just like looking for love and figuring out ourselves, but we're also trying to figure out, is this someone who I can see myself with? Is this someone I can do life with? Is it someone that I love or not? And really, really huge blessing just to see Brandon just keep pursuing Jesus, keep pursuing friendships, keep pursuing doing life together in community. And then to like hear about this cool girl named Emily, like to be able to meet her, like, oh, and then they're dating, oh, and then they're engaged. And I was very honored to be one of his groomsmen at his wedding. I was tremendously honored. And like, maybe I don't tell you this enough, but I'm like really proud of you, like as a person, like, and as a man, and like as a friend. It's really cool to see you go from like, I think sometimes we think like, oh, you leveled up, you're thus a better person or a Christian kid, you are now married. It's like, no change in your self-worth. And it's so beautiful to see your heart like, hey, I want to get married, and like the ups and downs of life, and just finding someone and choosing Emily and like loving her, and her choosing and loving you. That's been really special to see.
Bro, thank you, man.
This one comes.
Yeah.
They about to be buddies for life. That's
That's all.
Yeah.
No, that's good to hear though. Like just in the transition, so you're able to like watch him go through this, and I guess find inspiration too. Like you're able to see him be married and be like, you can ask all the questions now and be like, hey, you know, now you can see he went through it. Now you can pull you through. So I guess Brandon, from your end, I guess, how did anything switch or change as far as conversations or the way you all communicate or boundaries or anything, being that you're married now versus when you both were single?
Yeah. Well, I know, like, you know, when I first got married, I know, like, I was like just so focused on that and like learning like what is this thing called marriage. So I'm like, I honestly kind of like focused on that, and for like a season, you know, I wasn't really talking to a lot of people, and you know, wasn't talking to Dave much. And I wasn't like trying to push anyone away. It was just like, I'm so focused on this, and of course like business and stuff like that, that, you know, it took a lot of my time. And, you know, at the same time we were going through like transition for ourselves, because like we were looking for, not too long after we got married, we were looking for a new place. And it was like taking up more time, and it wasn't, not an excuse, but like I honestly like wish that I just kept more communication, you know, especially between me and Dave. But like we would still like talk to each other, we'll still hang out whenever we got the chance. Just like being a newlywed is like, oh wow, like let me focus on my wife and get to know her. So it was a tough transition. I feel like I'm kind of out of that now. After over a year of marriage, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of settled now. I can hang out with my friends more, and you know, when the time comes, Emily can join us too. And plus for her, like when we got married, she was still pretty much brand new to our community. You know, she left her church to come to my church, so she was trying to like build her friendship foundation at the same time. For me, it's like, you know, my friends are here, but I wanted to focus on her. So I feel like I'm out of that transition. But like, but when it comes to Dave, like, and I credit Dave for his heart, but I also credit like our community, because like I agree with you, DJ and Dave. Like, you know, the easiest way to make friends for guys is mutual interest, you know, and without that, there's no relationship. Our church has been like very intentional on like these discipleship groups, community groups, where we would come together and just share our life, you know, confess sin, and you know, in 2019, like 2018, 2019, all I was focused on was, you know, trying to find a wife. So I'm really dating almost every girl in the church.
Oh wow! Hold on, we about to
on the next episode.
All right, on part 2.
Just a little exaggeration, but you know,
no, just play. Go ahead.
But I went through a really tough, really bad breakup. She broke up with me, and you know, I was very immature at that time, and like, you know, Dave was here, you know, and while I was just like spilling all of my guts to him, and I'm and all of my bitterness to him, and he just showed a lot of care and compassion towards me, which is something that you don't really see a lot in men, but more so towards women. But like he was there for me, and that's a display of his heart. But that's also display of like what I learned at our church. Like there's guys that are like, yo, I actually care about your well-being, which was something that was new to me. So, but Dave is such a big part in that, and not just for me, but like everyone, all the other guys. Like he's very empathetic and compassionate, which is something that I always admire about him.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, my turn.
No, I don't know if you had anything to pull from that to kind of.
Well, yeah. Now I was thinking about how the transition from being single all the way to this point, there was, in a way, not a detachment from friendships, but kind of like a detachment from certain things of the friendship. Now, of course, we're talking about friendship with family members too. I used to live with my cousin, and I had to do a detachment from basically being in the same apartment as him, which we kind of had a conversation, no argument. No, it's just a conversation of why this is happening. Come to an understanding about it, because for a little bit he was like, why she could just move in here. I'm like, that's not what she want. So I have to I have to attach part of that friendship that I had with him to over here. And it was like, it's just not going to work, especially if my goal is basically follow what God is telling me to do. So it in the long run, like, yeah, I end up kind of in the same boat where I just like put my head down and started, working towards the relationship with her and God, and there was like I said, detachments from certain parts of friendships, but I still had my core people who was there. And recently we just had a meetup, and it was cool because we talked about a lot of things, and it was more care than anything. It was to the point to where it was like, we need to set up either a monthly meetup, because this stuff we need, because we in a way kind of detached from certain parts of our friendship. We still have the friendship, we still call each other, talk to each other. It's just that part that we haven't seen each other, had those conversations. We're older now, kids, except for one of them, but
Right.
kids, married. It's so much stuff where we're like pulled to where we kind of missing out on the men meetups that we used to do, especially one of us don't get out at all. So it was like a big refreshment for all of us.
Yeah.
It was good to hear. Like, he came back home and I was like, how'd it go? And he was just going through like the different conversations and the different things, and just updating me on like,
it was a laugh fest, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and it was good that he went out. I was like, how were you coming back? Like, where you?
Yeah, she hit me up.
Where you at?
You all right?
It was like almost 11 o'clock, and you don't stay out late.
You said stay out late.
Yeah, because he don't be going nowhere. He don't stay out. Like,
literally, I was like, all right, I'm going. Come back 5 minutes later.
Right.
Did you go? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, you didn't have fun. And then to know that basically the fun for them though is like, which I mean, it's cool because you can't do too much, but they went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
And had a blast. It wasn't even about the food or the TV. We were just talking. Well, it actually became part of food towards the end because one of my friends' wings was on point.
Yeah.
I was like,
see, look, wings bring people together. See, that's
all the time.
The common denominator we're finding out here.
Speaking of wings, what's it called? Bachelor night.
The bachelor party, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Party. That's to tell you how whack it was, but it was great for me. We went to 2 different places to have wings. With Peanuts, and then we went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's a place out here called Peanut.
Yeah, and
it's
great. my friends was like, "You enjoy this? Every bit of it."
And I heard where you went. I was like, y'all went where? What?
Oh, and then went to the casino, which I didn't really care
Do nothing.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyway, but no, that's just let you know how much you're needed, how much you're needed. Now, Dave, did you feel the pull away? And did that do anything to you, or did you like respect it because you're like, I know where you are now? Did that do anything?
I don't think I felt it pulled away.
Okay.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Like the two shall become one. And it's like, yeah, like she should be your main priority. And also in that, like also taking care of yourself, and also like you're sharing everything. You're always together, like you're loving each other, and also like you need time for yourself. So I think that's actually really healthy. I didn't feel a pull away. And I think you're really intentional. You were really intentional. Like, Dave, how are you doing? Like, let's hang out. You would invite me to stuff. I was very thankful and blessed to get some coaching by you on like dating or just like seeking the heart of God and seeking first the kingdom of God. And then just like Dave, do you want to like have a follow-up chat? And like, how's it going? Like reading the Bible? Like, oh, you love YouTube. Have you thought about their YouTube videos where they literally read out Bible verses, but also actors are acting it out. And it's really beautiful to see the word of God interpreted in this way while you're hearing it, and then you're seeing an artistic representation of the word of God played on a YouTube. Like, Brandon, thank you. I never thought about that. So I think in the midst of that year of learning and probably unlearning and relearning stuff, I didn't feel a pull away. You know that like you felt that way, or if you did, because I also felt like we could connect and we kind of hit it off running where we left off.
Good.
I think that's a man thing.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I think it's just I appreciate you saying that you didn't feel it. I think I want to say women, because Christian women should see this differently, of course, to be in a healthy friendship. That go watch the last episode, y'all, if you haven't seen it. But oftentimes culture with women and friends, when that person gets married or pulled away, boyfriend, whatever, there is a tug there, but we take it seriously. It's taken seriously, or that friend may have become an idol. And so that was that person I always went to. There's a person we hung out with when it was bad times and all the things. And so now you got this guy, and now you married, and we used to do this thing annually, and you can't go because now you have children, and you got kids, you got an anniversary. So it's so much that we see and we take to heart. But as Christians, like you said, you have to cleave to your husband, your wife. Like that's what we're called to do. And we, on the other hand, have to respect that. And for me, I realized it was an idol. I realized that I put my friendships in places where they should not have been. And I made them savior, where I need to go to Jesus. I should not be relying on them at everything. And even so, my husband's here now. So they getting married. I'm mad. I'm married. Like, what am I doing? And so it's so many different things that that we put ourselves through. But I think for some reason, when I see men or I hear stories about men, it's not too often I hear you all take it to heart like that. It's more like, oh no, I'm proud of you. Like, do your thing. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so.
It's interesting. Yeah. I always that's interesting to hear that. Like, because when I was single, I always placed a boundary for myself to not text any of my male friends that are married after 8:00, because I'm thinking he's probably with his wife and his kids, so it's not that deep. I'm not so that's interesting to hear that. And now I'm in the position of okay, I need to be intentional with wanting to hang out with my friends, my single friends. Though it's I know it's I'm not thinking that they're resenting me, but it's more so I'm just focused on myself. I'm all right, what can I do to be more intentional? But that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the narratives. I think there's too many narratives that when we put in our head about anything, though, it could be about narratives just be going.
Which we hearing that a lot anyway. Oh, your husband might be thinking of something. I'm like, I ain't thinking nothing.
Well, yeah, because they think that my single friends, a lot, oftentimes they'll be like, "Oh, did he tell? Are you okay? Did you talk to him first before you could come out here?" Or it'll be like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Are you sure? I'm like, I'm good, y'all. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here right now.
Like, you sound like a tyrant. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just playing the game. You know?
I know. So, did you get permission? Like kind of
Right.
thing. Almost. That's what it feels like. You know. But I didn't think about that, Brandon. You brought something good too about reaching back to your single. Like that's what I try to do often too. Like we have brunches that we have monthly. Actually, it's been going on for 2 years now, and the majority of, I think I'm the only married person, honestly, in the group, and so they are like, you know, like, are you okay? Like everything, but they know that I want to be around them. Like I still need social. I'm an extrovert, so I have to have that to energize me, things like that. Or I'm courteous, like I want to meet with them, like even one-on-one. Like I don't want to lose that because of, I want to find a way, just find a way. Like you said, it took time for me to do that though, especially after having children, you know, all the things, like I couldn't just immediately go back. I had to figure out routines and all the things. But once I had my snapback back, I was able to actually go back out and have fun and enjoy myself, and so, or find the time to do that. So, yeah. So I think for you just kind of did the same thing. Oh, but he's always down. Like I got the kids, like, because it's always like I'm thinking about the children.
Well, that's not what happened before the kids. It was different
Before
because I kind of realized probably why they started doing that. Our like first few dates when you brought me in the friend group, and it was more like my guess is they had a different picture of me. They probably thought I was more extrovert and be like talking
like me,
like her. When the first time we met up, I was just in my own little world while they had a conversation. So I was still there. I was just in my phone. And I was like, all right. Okay.
And then you're around a whole bunch of women, and they don't bring, like they might have a significant other or not, and so you're the only guy sometimes.
Yeah, there might be a guy there, like,
right? That's what I'm saying.
You could just leave me at the house.
That's to entice you. There might be one more guy there that's coming.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they was just like, is he cool? Does he not like us or something? Like, no, I'm good. Y'all cool.
Yeah, so I think those are the dynamics though that you have to deal with.
Yeah,
when it comes to the married kids, and so but I wanted to touch on this too about maybe how, I'm trying to figure out how to pose this question. Like, when does it get deep for y'all to where y'all handle, like, maybe how you call them out, like me had to call Brandon out on something that he did that wasn't right, or maybe you had to call Dave out on something, and how you handle it as Christian men. Like I think that's not talked about often. Keeping each other accountable, whatever. You can give an example or just talk about it generally.
Yeah. You want to go?
I have an example, and I can go after you.
Oh, okay.
You want me to go? Because I just thought of one.
I like how you said that.
I'm going to call you out right now. No.
Call her out right now on the spot. How do you handle it? Give us example.
Well, I mean, I'll just say I don't have like a specific example, but like, yeah, it just goes back to like our culture, like in our church. Like I'm really praising my church because they're super cool. But like, yeah, we intentionally like meet together and we just share about what we're doing, and you know, like if there's like anything that I'm hearing that's not like Dave or anything, like something that he's saying, like I'm like, okay, number one, this is not who he is. So I'm like separating, I'm separating, you know, sin from the person. So I'm just like, hey, like I love you, man. Like this is not you. Like this is who you are. Like and I feel like the closer that you are with, and I have people in my life that does that too. So I feel like like the closer you are with someone and like your temperament, like you're not blaming them or like shaming them for anything, but you're basically just like reminding them of their identity in Christ. And that includes like hey, what you're believing here is not you. I didn't know that was your ringtone. So, I just hear this flute. I'm like, okay. We were just talking about like I should, put my phone.
I love it.
Call him out.
And he has
right now. Like,
he has great ringtones, ladies. Whatever.
just not a setup, but
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
but yeah, it's like I'm separating who he is to what he's not, and it's generally out of a place of love, and it's not something to like call him out just to call him out, but more so it's like curious, I want to give my friend the benefit of the doubt at all times. And if I'm hearing something, I'm like, oh, I'm curious. Like, tell me more. And I'm like, maybe that's not who God says you are. So I'm gonna just leave that alone. And then this is who you are. So, but yeah, that's the culture that we've been building in our friend group. So
I like that. Dave, what you got?
I remember when we were on a service trip in Northern Africa, and Brandon and another friend, Isaiah, shout out to Isaiah, were telling me a story of how this taxi cab driver there was being really racist to them, and like his words, how he was treating them, and how disrespectful he was being to them. And when they told me, I got really upset. I was like, no, like, we need to find out who that was. Like, we need to tell our group to like, so they can be on the lookout for like this racist taxi cab driver, like just texting them to like have to hear your story, that they need to understand what it's like. And then Brandon was just like Dave, it's okay. Like we don't need you to like, I think it was you and Isaiah. I don't want to just put it all on you. It's just like, you don't have to save us. You don't have to rescue us.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang. And I'm like, yeah, I think that was coming from a place as a white man, and then having to unlearn and like relearn a lot of stuff. I'm like, oh no, like I'm down for the cause. Like I'm ready. Let's let's right these wrongs. And it's like, we didn't ask you to do that. We're just telling you what happened to us. But it's like we're not freaking out about it. It's like, yeah, we probably wouldn't have chosen that to have happened, but it's also like, wasn't the first time, and also we just shared it with you. Like, we're not asking for your opinion, we're not asking for your advice or anything. We're just sharing it with you. And that was a great help for me. Okay. To just like, I just need to listen.
Yeah. At the moment, like, how did you feel? Like, because it seemed like you were heated about it. Like, you was about to go, like, but them telling you, did you still feel a sense of pride? Like, I still had to, or did it just calm you down? Like, how long did you hold that kind of anger until they came in and told you to kind of just let it go?
Yeah, I think it was pretty like fairly quickly. I think it was like at dinner, we were just talking, and I was just like, oh yeah, like, is this more about me and like maybe my shame and like maybe my lack of action in the past or even in the present? And so I'm trying to like make up for this. I'm like, no, I'm with you. I'm alongside you. And it's like, we didn't ask you to. And we're just, so I'm like, I was making it about myself and like shame, rather than like, let me just hear their story. And I don't need to become more upset than they are. I don't even need to become upset. Like, I can be upset that happened, and I can just listen. And I think like Brandon and Isaiah were just like very chill, but they were also kind of, like honest and direct, like they like, yeah, we don't need you. We didn't ask for any of that. And like, you don't need to. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, my bad. Like, let me just hear you. And I hear it sucks. And we'll keep moving on. Then we had ice cream.
We had ice cream. We had ice cream every
We
day.
had ice cream.
It was
I
bad.
think that
It was
that's
really
funny. No, I think that speaks volumes. Like that was honest. Like I can't word it, but it was just an honest conversation that needed to be had, especially with the times we're living in. Something's always popping off. Something's going on in the Black community. You know, it's a lot of things that's going on. You want to feel like you're supportive. And then I'm sure, Brandon, you're like, you know, you're okay. We still brothers. First of all, we're Christians first. Let's trump all the other stuff. We're Christians first. And then, you know, coming in just to make sure that he's fine. And then you already have a history together and you just trying to make things okay. I think there's so many things out there that culture pushes of grudges that need to be held. Like it could have went south, it could have went sideways. You could have said, no, I'm not listening to you. Or Brandon, you said, okay, well, let's do something about it, you know, kind of thing. But I think when God's in it, it makes us make the right decisions, and it automatically calms you down, you know. And I think often we don't hear that often. We just hear men bickering, you know, or yeah, he talking me sideways. I ain't listening to him or whatever. From my side, sometimes I hear that where it's hard to call them out. And when you do call them out, they probably don't change. There's pride there. Or how do you do it? You know, like, should I just let him go off on the deep end? Or should I save him? And if I do save him, how long do I save him for before he gets right? You know, it's so many things that we do that I think I was hearing on a podcast yesterday was two women talking about friendships. And she said, I forgot how she worded it, but she said, I don't have time to worry about your triggers. You know, like you need to get healed because I don't have the capacity. And if I can't be the person you need, I can't be that person. Your triggers are your triggers. I'm just me. I'm gonna be me, however I could be me. And so I think that's another thing. Do you have the capacity to be that person's friend? Or to be there for that person? And so, yeah, anything to add? Anything else?
So I brought this up the other friend episode, but sometimes it's not about holding each other accountable, but it's also yourself too. I say that because of one of my friendships in the circle I have was basically broken up because of choices I made. And it was like that for like years. But instead of trying to reach out, talk about things, we kind of just let it be. And to the point to where I was like, I started following God again. And it was more of not God telling me, but because I'm supposed to be showing God, I need to do better and hold myself accountable. So I did something that I would probably never have done, which was I went to his house and asked for forgiveness.
Wow.
Which that by itself was already a lot for me. But it was a good moment because we was able to, it wasn't like a instant, okay, oh, we good now. It was more like it took time. Kind of ease back into the friendship because I know how he is. You know, once he's a certain way, his trust is just gone. But it took a while, but it got to the point to where it became a blessing for my family now, because now we're in the house that he ended up selling us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he ended up doing real estate, which was crazy because he didn't do real estate long. Ended up doing real estate, and I ended up calling him up, and he helped us get a house, and it ended up being a blessing for him too, because he even told us, like, man, that was the easiest house I was able to sell. He was like, usually it's always tough, it's difficult, but for some reason, all the ducks was in a row, and easy work. But he ended up quitting after that. But still, it was like a blessing, just because of that moment of basically of healing.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. Forgiveness. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's the part right there. So there's a couple more questions before we close. I know we kind of went over time. I'm sure y'all okay. Yeah. As far as growing up, like when you think about like when you two were growing up separately, you know, you didn't know each other. How was friendships for you then? Like, did y'all keep friendships? Do y'all still have childhood friends, or did when was there a part to where you got pulled more to Christ and you had to leave those friends behind? Like, tell us a little bit more about that side of things. Dave, you can go first if you want to.
Sure. Great question. I feel like I did have friends like in childhood. I grew up homeschooled with 5 brothers, so I had like built-in playmates and built-in friends. Thankfully, I still have them to this day. So like, yeah, they're like my first friends, my first childhood friends.
Wow.
And then outside of the family, like I'm thinking of church, I'm thinking of sports, I'm thinking of like the young adult group at like the local library. It's like I can't really think of any friends that I'm still in contact with.
Okay.
I will say there have been some great people through college. Like shout out to Jorge. When he and I were in school together, he would gather guys together for like wing nights, and we would go to get chicken wings.
There you go. I guess.
Hey,
Yeah,
let it roll. Let it roll.
We'd go to Emma's in Norton. We'd go to the Boneyard, and like we called it like the Fellowship of the Wings. And we had like people from all over the world. Like it's a very international crew, and the waitress was like, "Y'all are like the United Nations or something."
Ooh, I love it.
So I would say like, and that wasn't childhood, but it did feel like a very crucial growing up piece for me. And I was honored to be one of his groomsmen at his wedding.
Okay.
But in terms of like childhood friends, not too many. I'm sure if I ran into them or we connected, like we'd be like, "Oh, how's life? Do you remember when we played soccer? Remember when we played basketball?" But in the day in, day out, no, not so much for me personally.
Wow, that's good to know. Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, similar. Like my friends from childhood, like they were basically friends from church. I didn't really hang out with my friends from school. It was in high school similar, and I stayed more in touch with like friends from college, but like they either were number one getting married, number two like women, because I had a lot of girls that were friends, and number three my guy friends they were just into like just other stuff, especially when I gave my life to the Lord. So I don't really have like childhood friends because it was just situational. Like, you know, we were either in church or in school, and once we left that church, we didn't have a relationship anymore. There'd be times where like I would meet some of my friends as an adult, and you know, it would just be all good and stuff. But yeah, one of my friends from my church, I saw him on Instagram. He started like I think he started like a relationship podcast, which is
really?
Yeah, but it's totally. I don't think he's Christian. So it's a little different. I would say new agey, but like he's someone I'm thinking about that I may reach out about just to say hello, see how he's doing. But
it's sometimes interesting to see. Like I think about it all the time, and I'm like, man, childhood friends. I mean, I see them on Facebook. I see them, you know, living life and doing things, but it's been a minute, and it's just been over time. But a lot of those experiences, like in childhood, affected relationships and friendships that I've had in the future because of how we broke up or what happened, moving away or them moving away, me going to college or whatever. And so one of the common things that I've found out is that I've always moved away. So every time I had a friend, I always moved away, you know, a good friend, like you call it best friend or whatnot. And so it's like when I get a new friend and we connect, I still go back to like, okay, am I going to abandon them? They're going to abandon me. Are we not going to be friends any longer? And I put that negative narrative on friendship when I realized that I don't have to, like, I can forget what happened in childhood. Like, how can I make this work? Now, like, what do I need to work on to keep this relationship, to keep this sisterhood? Like, what does that look like? So, yeah. And you have your childhood. That's the ones you rock with.
Well, before them,
I
had the opportunity to be a military brat. So what comes with that is moving. So I had friends that basically in some way affected my life, if you want to put it like that.
Influence, maybe.
Influenced, affected, same thing. One of them was a best friend, which I still wish I could find him. But it's been so long, I don't even remember his last name. I remember his first name. But now it's like, of course I got my core friends, but then I had friends that was kind of like they was there, but now they're not in my life, kind of thing. It's like, things happen, people move. There was a start of something, and it's usually because of the same situation where it's like we have some kind of mutual somewhere. I know one was over a Game Boy, the other one was over Pokemon cards. One was because we used to jump off a roof onto a trampoline and we became best buddies. But life happens, things change. People end up doing other things. Actually, one friend who's would have been in the group, but when you brought up homeschool, he ended up getting homeschooled.
Okay. He ended up getting homeschooled. Oh, darn.
Which was crazy because I borrowed a game from him.
Oh.
And he got homeschooled and I got on punishment for a while. I kept trying to return this game to him and I couldn't until one day I did. And I seen him. I was so happy to see him, but he looked like a total different person because he never came out the house. I was like, you are so pale.
You ain't never come out the house.
Yeah, but I ain't seen him since then. I gave him his game back though.
You ain't seen him since then.
Yeah, so now since like 97, I've had my core friends. Used to be 5 of us, now it's 4. No, one of them didn't pass away.
I know. I'm glad you came back and told us what happened to the 5th one.
He just like the other friends that come and go. He was there for a little bit and he just kind of broke off and did his own thing.
Yeah. So, man, it's been a time, y'all. This has been great conversation. I really appreciate you two.
I like friend combos.
You like friend? I like friend combos. No, it's good to see men talk about friendships and how they're vulnerable with one another and encourage one another, because you don't hear that often, especially Christian men. Like we don't get that often, and so it's good to always see that side of things. So for the final question, I guess I should ask, I want you to encourage the audience, maybe the audience of men who are maybe looking for community, looking for a friend, or like, should I have one? Why do I need one? Or it might be where their wife or girlfriend is like, man, you should get out there. It'll be great for you to go find a group of people, to hang out with, to call your brothers, to create a brotherhood or whatnot. Talk to that man that's maybe on the fence or maybe needs some encouragement. What would you tell them or say to them to get them to kind of open up to that?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Sure. We all need Jesus. We all need time to ourselves, and we all need people. One of the most beautiful things that's ever happened to me is I've been in therapy for the past 7 years, and the past 6 years with one therapist. Shout out to therapist Ben. And I've been able to bring up so much of my past and my present and worries about the future. And some of those conversations have been around relationships and loneliness and longing for connection, even in the midst of like wanting to date and find my future wife. But it's also these meaningful day-to-day friendships that are so near and dear to my heart that I've been able to talk through and process through therapy. So I recommend therapy to anyone and everyone, hopefully with insurance, like it's mostly covered. I'm so blessed to be able to share things in therapy that I'm like, oh, wait, And I can also share things with really good friends like Brandon, with Richard, with Ebube, etc. And so the two have really gone hand in hand. It's like, man, I really need people, but also like Brandon can't be my therapist. And I really need time with my therapist, but also my therapist isn't my friend. So it's a lot of both and I would say to anyone who's just feeling, I think especially lonely, I think so many of us, I think the pandemic taught us a lot, like we all need each other and we all feel loneliness. And that can be, I heard one podcast say loneliness can be as detrimental to our health as smoking.
Wow.
We really need friendships. And I would say to that person, like who's feeling lonely, who feels alone or maybe unseen or unheard, I'd say, hey, you're not alone. You're loved. You're liked. I would say definitely therapy. And I would also say, like, what interests you? What do you like? What do you enjoy? Because we're more likely to keep doing things if we enjoy them, if we like them. So finding Zumba, finding a church, finding a life group, finding, a gaming club, finding something that can hopefully get us physically active in some realm, but also like get us socially connected with other people. And I've heard and learned from other people, especially as a lot of men get older and then we retire, we don't know what to do with ourselves because our whole identity was in work or was in marriage or raising kids, being a husband and father and being a worker. And then all of a sudden we're retired and we don't know what to do with ourselves. And so we need hobbies, and we need hobbies with other people. And just hearing anecdotal evidence of someone retiring, but every Friday he'd go and play basketball with these guys, even if they were like 10, 20, 30 years his junior. And after he passed, his wife said to the basketball group, I think you guys kept my husband alive way past what he would have been, how past what he would have lived if he had not had you guys. And I really think about that. So I would just say, like, start where we are. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say, hey, great job. It's also, hey, like, I'm struggling with this. And then people will be like, oh, me too. I would say, like, take the risk and show up. Oftentimes it's just us showing up and asking for help. And then I think we underestimate how much people actually like us and how much we can actually like people if we show up and we invest time. And there's blessing. It's a two-way blessing.
Yeah. That was so good. That's so good, Dave. Man. Okay. Good job.
Yeah.
Men. Okay, Brandon, what you got for the last encouragement to men out there?
Thank you, Pastor Dave. Yeah, so just to put icing on top of that, so like I just want to talk to Christian men specifically who are feeling lonely or don't know how to build relationships. Before I went to my church, I went to another church for 3 years by myself, and I didn't make any friends. I made 2 friends that I saw twice out of those 3 years, and they were an older white couple. That being said, I wasn't intentional in trying to meet people and trying to like plug myself in any sort of like group or community. So I would say this: you are a pursuer. Like God is literally like wired you to pursue, hunt. Really, like you're there to actually. You're created to be intentional, to seek after what you desire, and that takes a lot of strength and practical things. So I would say number 1, find a local church. Just Google a local church in your city or neighborhood. I did that myself. I Googled churches, literally typed in Waltham, and that's how I found my church. And once you get there, like just reach out to somebody, reach out to someone that looks like a leader or somebody, and say like, hey, I'm looking for a group. whether that's a life group or a men's group or whatever that may someone is going to connect you to somebody.
Yeah.
And you have to intentionally go out and introduce yourself and be vulnerable and say, like, it's okay. First of all, it's okay to be vulnerable, like Dave said so eloquently, like, hey, I'm looking for guy friends. Like, it's okay to say that. I would say that's great leadership, for you to be vulnerable and honest and say, hey, I'm looking for friends. Like, the more vulnerable and honest you are, the more people that you will gravitate to.
Yeah.
And the more people gravitate to, now you have options of friends, and now you get to hang out and do whatever hobbies you like to do, or things that you like to share. And that actually translates to how you even find a spouse, because first of all, you're pursuing, you're hunting, and you're being intentional, so you can take that same energy and even look for a spouse too. But like, you're not going to attract that if you don't have practice and at least searching for what you're desiring, which is a bunch of men, or at least one or two friends that can hold you up and hold you accountable and encourage you. So yeah, I would just say, yeah, the church I would say, is the greatest place to find people. Just a lot of people. So I would just say, just find a place, find a local church first, Christian guys, and of course, look for people that look for a group. Like, I would say, hey, go inside that group and say, hey guys, I'm new here. Good churches love newcomers, okay? Like, they will
Do.
gravitate to you. And of course, from then you'll be able to build off of those relationships, and maybe even have the courage to find other relationships outside of church. But you have to understand that you are a pursuer, you're a leader, and you have to be intentional to grab it, to find what you're desiring. It does not going to fall into your lap. You have to take an actual step.
All right. When y'all podcast coming out? when is this coming out? Y'all both preaching and teaching and encouraging, exhortation happening out here in these streets. So I appreciate you too. How can people find you if they want to connect with you? You can give out your socials. You can give out.
Oh, sorry.
Got your socials.
Not the social number, not that.
I mean, if you really want somebody, they can already do the background check and do all that all in one.
Well,
Social media.
Yeah. Hey, I'm open. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at bglee001, or on TikTok at Coach Brandon. You have any?
I'm actually not on like any social media. I had
Your phone
to take
number
a
in the description. No, go ahead. So you're not on social media?
No, I needed to take a break from my mental health, and I still really miss it. And people can always follow Brandon and Grace for You, and they can also follow When Marriage and Purpose Collide. Shout out to them. But yeah, maybe Brandon can be my wingman. He'll like vet them.
That's fine.
Talk to Brandon to get the.
And maybe that's good. He can vet them. So before, and then be able to know, and then shoot them over to you if that's if she's capable and compatible for you. So we'll do that. I don't know why I'm already thinking of a woman. I'm just thinking of anybody that can
connect. Just so you know.
I'm also willing, like, if guys reach out to you, like, hey, I just want to talk like brother to brother, like if they reach out to Brandon, but also Brandon is a wonderful coach, wonderful guy, so I highly recommend like his ministry, because he really listens, he really sees and hears, and he really helps and supports.
That's so awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. Another When Marriage and Purpose Collide episode. I don't know why I did that.
Right, so much.
I don't know why. One, another episode again. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode, especially the men. Y'all come in the comments. Just say what's up. Even if y'all, what was this relatable to y'all in any way? Put something in the comments section and share with another man. Yes.
I'm always here.
And you're always here. So we thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of When Marriage
And Purpose
Collide, the podcast.
Yep.
We out. All right. Oh, I have the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just let it go. Let it go. The mouse went over there.
The mouse is all over.
There. Thank you for tuning into When Marriage and Purpose Collide, the podcast.
Click on the links in the description to learn a little more about us. Subscribe and send a review on your takeaways or any new insight you have gained in this episode. If you are a single Christian woman and you are seeking to date with intention and cultivate love in 2024, you'll also find resources and details on programs I have to offer in the description.
Don't worry, man. Resources coming soon.
See you back here for our next episode.